Hey everybody, it's Gets 134 here.
And as always, I'm Average Joe Squad.
And welcome to another episode of Remember the Hyphen, the show where we look at comic books, movies, and everything in between. Now I know what you're thinking, guys. This looks like you two just filmed this right after the Red Sun review.
No, bullshit. This is the next day and we're wearing the same clothes.
Well,
Continuity.
That implies some weird things about you and me. but yeah. No, we're recording a couple of these ahead just because, with the state of the world right now, I figured it would be better for us to have a couple in case.
Instead of stockpiling toilet paper, we're stockpiling videos.
So, we were actually watching since he has the DC online universe app. We've been finding like all sorts of weird stuff they have on there, and him and I were just like, you know what? There's this weird pilot on here. Let's watch it.
I think I even mentioned to you. I was like, I had really no clue about it. I'm like, hey, it's on here. It's only like an hour and 5 minutes. Let's watch this on lunch because we can bang that out in like two lunches.
So if you don't know what we're watching, we watched the 74 Wonder Woman pilot. So this pilot was actually what they were originally planning to do with the Wonder Woman TV show that most everyone knows. Unfortunately, it didn't really do well when they watched it, I think, with, like, test audiences. And as we'll talk about it, you'll mainly see why it didn't do as well as the original Wonder Woman TV show. But, so basically this pilot aired in 74 as like a TV movie.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, it starred Kathy Lee Crosby as Wonder Woman.
Who I don't think did anything else of really big note after this.
But the real star of the whole movie is Ricardo Montalban
as the bad guy of this piece.
A.K.A. Khan from Star Trek 2.
Dressed like he is in Fantasy Island.
Well, basically, because he actually is the guy from Fantasy Island. I think they reused the same suit.
Yeah. So, I wouldn't be surprised. This is a pilot, so they don't have the biggest budget. No. So they probably reused a lot of assets.
This movie had the best budget, obviously.
So, the film doesn't open on Wonder Woman, oddly enough. The film... Did it?
It opens up with them stealing the code books.
Yeah. Basically, these enemy spies are hired to steal these books containing, like, the data on where all these spies are all over the world. Like, 39 different agents for the U.S. government. Which, if you're wondering, well, gee, that sounds like a Bond movie plot.
This whole movie basically was a Bond plot. I mean, everything right down to the villains and the locations. Everything, it really felt like a Bond movie.
Diana Prince is Wonder Woman in The Amazon Who Loved Me.
That basically was our entire thoughts on this movie. But so it starts out with that, like, the music is stock 1970s. Like, it almost felt like a porn parody at some points.
I mean, I was almost expecting to see Charlie's Angels a couple of times in the background.
Yeah.
That's basically what Diana is in this, too. So, basically, these men are hired by Ricardo Montalban's character. Right? I know he has a name, but let's be honest, he's just being Ricardo Montalban.
Yeah.
So basically
Fantasy Island wasn't paying enough.
So basically his main goon and his two henchmen, who are identical twins, who we called the Wonder Twins throughout most of this movie.
Except they were
they were so worthless.
They did nothing at all.
The only thing that they did...
If it was a real Bond movie, these henchmen would have been killed after, like, the second time they
fucked up. Only thing they did right was kill, like, the guys that was working for the main henchie.
Yeah, that was, like, in the first, 10 minutes of the movie.
10 minutes. And so, basically, after that, we get the title screen, and then we cut to Themyscira.
Which looks really low budget. Like, it looks like they had to have shot that on a soundstage.
And so, basically, this is the scene where, basically, Hippolyta and some of the Amazons, which I don't even think they call her Hippolyta. I think they just call her the Queen of the Amazons.
The world does not deserve you. Like, they did the whole world doesn't deserve you scene. And it's all done as, like, a flashback while Diana is being Steve's secretary.
Yeah, basically, it's her leaving for man's world, and they give note of all these Amazons, particularly one named Angela.
Which was, like, the most non-Greek sounding name I've ever heard in my life.
Well, one of them was named, like, what, TD or something like that?
Yeah, like, all these really, like, Greek sounding names that, like, are accurate. And then we get to this one, and I'm like,
Angela.
The fuck?
And maybe...
it's like they ran out of names.
And maybe we don't know. You could correct us. Maybe Angela's a really Greek name, but I don't think so. So basically, she's like, Themyscira, Diana's like, Apollo's like, once you leave, you're basically leaving everything behind, which is code for her leaving all that good pussy behind.
God damn it, Adam. Now we're going to get demonetized.
Whatever. At least we won't get in trouble with COPPA because I said that. So, because basically Diana's like, no, I want to venture to man's world, especially because there's all that good dick over there. Don't get mad at me. You were the one who said that joke too.
Instant 50 dislikes.
Oh, I don't give a shit. So this movie's terrible. At least I'm making the jokes.
This movie's terrible. This movie really is terrible, honestly.
So basically, Diana's Steve's secretary, and I know probably people that are watching
Steve has this meeting with all these other military people,
which is hilarious because
this is how we're gonna get it back. And so Diana comes in, she's like, I'm gonna be leaving for the weekend.
Well,
I have a tooth that's bothering me.
It's hilarious because she talks to Steve before she lets all the guys in, and as she walks past, all the dudes are just like, oh yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh, this is really,
there's
really 1970s.
There's this really creeper dude that keeps wanting to ask Diana on a date. And I'm like, dude, I hate breaking it to you. She's already banging Steve.
It hasn't aged well, I guess, is the term we're looking for. It has not aged very well at all.
So basically, Steve and Diana know that, Diana is Wonder Woman. And, basically she works as a free agent to the US government. She basically helps Steve protect the world. And so, she plays all coy with him, very James Bond where I'm going to I'm looking for a dentist.
And he's like, might I suggest the French one?
And so she goes to France and she runs into the main henchman, henceforth shall be known as Indiana Henchy, when we get to his weird outfit he wears throughout the rest of the final part of the movie.
Yeah, it's just...
Basically, the dude tries to have her killed a couple of times.
Fails miserably.
And then once Diana gets to her hotel room, calls her up, and says, come to dinner with me.
And, what is it, 2 minutes into the conversation, I want to make love to you. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Man. I get this as a movie from 74.
Yeah, I know the 70s was wild with their sexuality, but I didn't think it was that wild.
Oh, yeah, and then Diana just flat out murders him, basically.
And she's like, why? And he starts wooing her, you have these eyes that she's like, no, I know why you want to make love to me.
Why should I want to have sex with you?
Yeah, why should I let you touch me?
She just gets up and leaves, which I'm just like, Jesus, call 911. This guy's dead.
So then, she gets chased around France by a car and led to this random building. And there's, alcohol there, and she, smells it, and, clearly she knows it's, laced with something, so she... And so, I think she gets into a fight here? I can't remember.
Oh, yeah, well, it's right around the time that they go to the pool, that she goes, where there's, supposed pool parties being held. It's actually just... It's an old reel-to-reel recording, which I'm like, there's no way in hell they got a good enough speaker for that.
While we're watching it, I'm like, it sounds like a real party's going on. I'm like, there's no way that would actually sound like that back then.
No, it wouldn't, because I actually know how reel-to-reel players sound. It's like, there's no way in hell in 1974 you could get a speaker that good.
No. So, they have her trapped here because basically they electrified the fence. So Diana uses one of her bracers, because she that's the only thing that reminds you that she's Wonder Woman.
She doesn't have the tiara.
She's not a brunette. So I think she uses it to cut the wires to the electrified fence to turn the power off.
Yeah, it's just it's a very weird sequence.
And so she goes back to New York, and they don't explain how she can get all these places as fast as she is.
No, they never explain it until the end of the movie.
Yeah, basically she tells the bad guy, "Oh, I have this jet that's invisible." That's the only time they reference anything Wonder Woman related.
And it was just for plot convenience.
Yeah, she only has the jet so that it explains how she can get places so fast. So, she's in her room, and basically the Wonder Twins planted a box there. And the main henchman calls her for some stupid reason. I forget. There's a lot of this movie that I really can't remember because it's just so boring.
Yeah, it's really boring, and it's just, honestly, it's not a very... It doesn't feel like a superhero movie at all. It feels more like just a James Bond movie, not even a good James Bond
there's
movie
barely any action. And so after she calls him, she feels something wrap around her leg, and it's a snake. I'm not entirely sure what snake it is. I don't think it's a cobra, because it didn't look like a cobra.
No, but so basically what happens is she calls the desk, and it's like...
Oh my God.
This scene was great. This scene was great for just comedy value alone. She basically calls up the front desk and send up a waiter with a saucer,
milk and a saucer,
and tell him that there's a $50 tip if he gets here in like less than 2 minutes.
And this dude he's just barreling up here because he's. Oh, and she tells him to take his shoes off because basically, you know, if the shoes make noise, she's dead. So he comes walking in and he sees the snake.
Might as well have had "Staying Alive" playing over it.
Oh my god, he was so excited he wanted this fitty. He's like, I'm getting me a fitty. I'm getting me some fitty. And so he makes the dude pour milk into the saucer. And somehow this attracts the snake to the milk.
Which we actually Googled. Like, I actually paused the movie when we were watching it. I was like, look that up. See if that's actually a real thing. It's not. It's a myth. So it's just flat out annoying. I'm like, okay, so that's not even accurate at all. Like, I know it's a 70s movie, but...
You know,
Jesus Christ.
You know, if you're gonna rip off James Bond, the least you could have done was have her kill it with, like, a thing of perfume in a match, like he did the one...
Do some research.
Like... So... Oh my god, this movie. I think we're only like halfway through it too. This movie's so bad.
Yeah, and
it makes the 2012 Wonder Woman pilot look good.
Yeah, which we might have to review that at some point.
Oh god, that means I have to watch the whole thing. I've only seen it in clips and reviews.
So anyway, at that point, you know, we lead into probably I think the best scene of the whole fucking movie.
Oh yeah, no, this is pretty good.
So back at the United States base, Steve gets this giant package in the mail.
Yeah, basically it's the ransom for basically the agents'
yes, and they've ran a heartbeat sensor over it, and it's like, oh, there's a heartbeat inside, and so they crack it open, and it's a fucking donkey.
Yeah, there's just a donkey
in a box.
I was like, well, what is this?
There's no air holes on that either.
No.
How the hell did that thing survive? I don't understand.
Well, I mean, to be fair, it's a wooden crate, so there probably was slatted probably.
Even still, but. And then basically Steve explains, like, okay, well, this is what they want me to do with the ransom money. They want me to put it in the saddlebags, take it to this town in Nevada, give it a command in Spanish, and slap it on the ass. And I'm like, that is extremely specific and also extremely fucking stupid.
No, it is the most convoluted plan. They wanted like $6 million or some bullshit amount.
This cost me $6 million.
And one borough. How you gonna pay for the shithead?
That was the biggest joke at the end, was the fucking, you cost me $1 million. And I'm like, my God, it's throwing this material at me now. But So basically Diana comes back to the United States.
And
now.
This is where we finally get her in her Wonder Woman costume. Which, you mind getting that up?
Oh, it's great. I like it a little bit, to be fair. But it's one of those instances where it is so bad that I actually kind of
it makes her look like a flight attendant. It literally looks like she's a flight attendant for some like patriotic themed like airline.
U.S. Airlines.
Like U.S. Airlines. It is one of the most god awful looking outfits. So basically the only things Wonder Woman for me are the bands and the belt, because the belt actually is where her lasso is. It's not the lasso of truth. It's just
a grappling hook, which is just.
Which, thank you for ruining the lasso. I mean, you've ruined everything else about Wonder Woman. You might as well ruin the lasso as well.
Yeah, and so basically, there's this weird scene where like they wash this burrow off. Basically, like they disable the transmitters that are in the hoofs, and they wash off this fluorescent paint that would have showed up when they looked for the helicopter. And
somehow the burrow gets out of there before Diana can. Yeah, I don't even know how.
I think I even mentioned it to you. There's this scene where basically she's stuck in this room and she's like slamming on the plate glass. She does it like 4 times.
Yeah, she even picks up like a rock and like tries to.
Yeah, and then how she gets out is she jumps up and like kicks it and it just rips it off the walls. I'm like, why the fuck?
You could have done that at any damn time. Like,
you're telling me you could have escaped at any point?
I didn't want to upset you. Meanwhile, she's almost killed by Neapolitan ice cream or whatever the hell this weird mud shit's in there. Because it's like red, blue, and yellow. And I'm like...
Oh, yeah. And like the sound effects they're using, it's like straight out of Star Trek. Yeah, and like, just like, is Scotty beaming the burrow up? Is that what's happening here?
Meanwhile, we also find out that... Because one of the Amazons comes to Diana and tells her that one of the other Amazons has left the island, Angela.
And she's doing it for money, which I'm like, you're an Amazon. What the fuck does money have to do with any of this?
What is man's currency to you?
Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Like, because she can buy jewels with it or something. I'm like... So you're basically a stereotypical gold digger?
Yeah, so like, but me and him both had a theory on this, and we think if this had led into a TV series starring Lee Crosby, that character would have been, because she lives later in the movie, you know, when we get to it, she lives, we're convinced that it would have been like a recurring villain type of deal, kind of like something out of like 60s Batman.
Yeah, where she would like work for like the villain of the week, like every single.
I'm gonna kill Diana. I gotta kill Diana. It's like that probably would have been a thing, but if you're just looking at this movie itself, it leads nowhere,
and it's just pointless. So basically, the burrow gets sent to this cave,
and all of a sudden there's like 4 or 5 identical burrows that come out.
They try to say that there's only 3 identical burrows,
we counted
and I'm
like
like,
5.
No, I counted like 5 burrows. And so, because basically they know Diana's here, so they might as well try and, get her from...
Yeah.
But Diana figures it out somehow, because apparently hoof prints are different between animals.
They're like fingerprints, but I'm like, is that actually real? I don't know.
No. Like, there's no real difference between hooves of animals. Especially because those look like the same type of burrow. You could argue if it was like two... Like with cows, like, there's whole... Like, maybe there'd be some difference. But not really. Like, the only way I would say it would be different is, like, the burrow had, like, injured the hoof, and it would have been, like, uneven.
Yeah. And so, basically, Angela and George are waiting.
Oh, yeah, that is his name, was George.
Yeah, George. Yeah, which, mind you, another thing we thought great about this movie was that Ricardo Montalban, you never see his face until the end of the movie. Like, he's always behind stuff, or, like, they show his, like,
hand with the cane.
Golden cane, and it's like... Dude, we know that's Ricardo Montalban.
You paid for you got a man whose voice is so unique,
and you just never show his face, which is just stupid.
Yeah.
But anyway, Angela and George are waiting for the burrow to show up.
We should pronounce it like
all of a sudden it shows up, and it's like there's someone writing it, and here it's Wonder Woman writing in on the burrow, and I'm just like
Jesus.
Yeah, I'm just like, this is so dumb, but. Angela, they make this big scene out of Angela throwing these javelins, and that she's extremely accurate with them.
Oh, yeah, because she throws it at a stump.
Yeah, and so, which I think I even mentioned, I'm like, that wouldn't be hard. I've shot archery before, that's not hard.
She later throws a javelin through the javelin she threw, which is actually impressive.
Yeah, and so George is basically like, I'll double or nothing if you can hit her off the burrow, and so Angela throws this javelin at her, and Diana catches it and throws it back.
In a really awkward way where it's like,
yeah, I think I even mentioned, I'm like, that's not how you throw a javelin.
And so, George gets away with the burrow. And so we get into the Captain Kirk fight scene, which I even like got up the Kirk fight.
And as soon as you played it, I was like, turn that shit off. I know what you're referencing.
The best part was with the video, is that it shows it showed Spock holding a spear. And I'm like, yes!
Yeah, it's just perfect. But so, there's this drawn-out fight scene, and it's edited really weird. Like, the scenes with Angela, like, they're, like, slowed down a little bit.
Like, they're trying to imply that Diana is just that much faster. So, like, Diana moves in real time, but Angela moves in slow motion.
And like I said, I get what you said, where they were definitely going for an effect, but it just doesn't come off well at all.
It's a very dated... Because, like... I've watched Kamen Rider and they do that there, but like there, like they like do jump cuts to imply like the character's moving faster, but like in a way that, granted, it looks like they're hopping, but like I can kind of at least get the idea of movement there. But the problem is, it's too.
I want to even say it might have been an effect that when this aired, it probably looked dated even then.
Oh yeah, no, it wouldn't. It wouldn't have even looked impressive then. Like, say what you will about like the $1 Million Man with how they did that. At least there, you kind of imply more super speed.
Yeah. But so they're having this big fight, and obviously Diana wins, and and Angela's basically like, like, you gotta kill me now, and Diana's like, I'm not gonna kill you.
And so Angela's like, well, I owe you my life, so you get one thing. So basically, Diana does no detective work, no skills of her own. She just asks where the villain is. And so she finds where Ricardo Montalban's hideout is. The Grand Canyon. He built a secret base in the walls of the Grand Canyon.
Which I'm just like, how would you construct that at a national landmark without anybody knowing? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't even look like they're at the Grand Canyon. It looks like they're on a soundstage.
They use stock footage for the Grand Canyon. When they show the actual footage, it's great stock footage.
It doesn't even look like they're in like the southwest of America. Like, it doesn't look like they're in the desert or anything.
They're on a soundstage.
Yeah, they're on a soundstage. So Diana figures out where they are because George is an idiot and drops his gum wrappers everywhere because his whole thing is he likes to chew gum.
Yeah, and even Ricardo Montalban's character was even like, I'll bet you $1 million that she can follow you here. And when she does, George comes out and he's like, you just cost me $1 million
and one burrow. And meanwhile, the burrow is literally in Ricardo Montalban's base.
Yeah, it just sits in the office the whole
Just
time in the
chills.
background, just chilling. I'm just like, what is, I don't understand.
So, basically, Ricardo Montalban introduces himself to Wonder Woman. And he is, like, he is just tops in this movie. He is, like, the sweetest, kindest evil mastermind the world has ever known. And he, like, 'cause he tells them to let her go. He even, like, drinks the champagne out of her glass, because she's like, no, cause she, she's like, you've obviously laced this with something. And so he's like, to massage your fears, he drinks the wine. Like, he's just like, he literally is just, like, being the smooth motherfucker that is Ricardo Montalban.
Yeah. And so, but it leads into, like, this scene where I swear, it's, like, 10, 15 minutes of just them talking. And I think I even paused at one point, and I looked at you, and I'm just like, what is the fucking point of this scene?
I know. It's literally just...
I get they're trying to, like, be like, well, this is the reason for this plan, and all this stuff, but I'm like, it gets dragged out so long,
especially
and it's so not interesting.
Especially because it's literally just telling us the same thing. He wanted to make a lot of money, so he ransomed...
Yeah, and I'm just like, I've known this since the beginning of the fucking movie. I don't need it. I don't need it reiterated. I get it was a TV movie, and they probably did that for anybody tuning in. Like, okay, that's how we're going to catch
Especially because there's a lot of commercial breaks in this.
Yeah, and they're all really obvious.
Yeah, because like you like it will pause and you see
does the classic bars over the screen thing, but so it leads into that, and so
yeah, so Wonder Woman
blows up his helicopter
using one of her bands. Apparently, her bands have bombs in them. It's about as logical as the Red Hood having a bomb in his helmet to blow up the bike helmet if he gets caught. Like, there's almost like, so I guess the bands aren't magical or anything, Yeah,
it's... But so it leads into that, and she basically grabs all the money and stuff, and she tries to escape, and...
Once again, she's caught by her greatest weakness, plexiglass.
Yeah, which is just so dumb. And so, basically, George and them get the money back, and Ricardo Montalban's character...
Well, he leaves her the codes, like, we got what we wanted. Trade's a trade.
We may want to do business with them again. I'm like... Okay.
Oh, like, really?
And so basically, he tells George, he's like, "Why don't you give a toast to our associates?"
Yeah, because basically
George kills the Wonder Twins off, which they've barely said anything the whole movie, and the one dude's last words is, "Why, George?" And he just gets killed.
Because basically he doesn't want to give them his cut. I also forgot he actually donates the burrow to like a family with kids. Ricardo Montalban's character. He literally donates the burrow. He pays a dude to give this burrow to a nice family that needs it. I'm like, I love this guy. I want more shows with Ricardo Montalban and his weird, wacky schemes. And so, because his helicopter's blown up, he gets away on a raft. It's like a little tiny life preserver raft, and literally George holds a gun on him, and Ricardo Montalban's like, "You couldn't just settle with your cut, huh?
You will find a way to be broken here."
And so
basically they had put tear gas in the saddlebags.
Yeah.
And Ricardo Montalban knows this, and so when he hands over the saddlebags, he just smacks it and activates it.
Yeah, and knocks George into the water.
And George can't swim.
And so literally, like... he
just rafts away while letting the motherfucker drown.
You assume that Wonder Woman's going to get there in time to rescue him.
No, he's just
gone.
Dead.
He's not even a corpse. He's gone.
Just dead. And they don't show the Wonder Twins' corpses either. It's a TV movie.
Oh, and you have to tell them about how Wonder Woman escaped. Because I remember you were the most pissed off about how she escaped from her plate glass.
My gosh, it was so dumb. Flexing my history master here again. Basically what happened was she's trapped between like this gated... Like a big metal gate and a plexiglass thing.
Well, it's something I think like a metal gate with plexiglass in it as well.
Yeah, that's what... Because I even mentioned, I'm like, you can just crawl through that. What the fuck?
Yeah.
But so she looks up, and the gate doesn't go all the way to the roof. It's literally a Titanic watertight door design where it doesn't go to the fucking roof. So she just throws the grapple hook over and climbs over.
She uses her other band, which is as like a hole in it, so that she could use it as like an extra.
Yeah, and so that's how she climbs over. And I think I even paused. I was like, "Bro, it's Titanic design. What the fuck?"
And so we get to the big climax of this film. Big climax.
Yeah, we think we're gonna get a fight scene at the very least, like some kind of a payoff at the end of this movie to make it worth sitting through an hour and a half of this shit.
I think heterosexual women have had bigger climaxes with men than this movie.
But so anyway, Wonder Woman goes back, and obviously George is just like water rafting down.
Ricardo Montalban.
Oh my bad.
Yeah, George is fucking dead.
Ricardo Montalban, he's just rafted. I actually did find a gif of it, by the way. I'm gonna send it to you. Yes. That's gonna be our new reaction gif.
It's just him
just chilling, rafting.
Meanwhile, Wonder Woman's got found a dirt bike that's randomly just in his base.
Yeah, and so she chases after him and dives off this bridge and stops the raft and is like, "You almost got away with it." He just looks at her and he just smiles.
Yeah, no, he's like,
"Oh,
well, you got me. I got nothing else."
And so, like,
not only that, after she climbs out of the water, he gives her his suit coat because she's going to be cold. He literally gives her his coat.
And the only thing he asks for a light because it's in his coat pocket.
Well, yeah, because he's got a cigar. He wants
one last cigar.
And as he's getting pulled into the police, he actually looks at the guy. He's like, "Don't worry, I'm going to get in. I just want to say one thing, Wonder Woman, I love you."
I'm just like, Jesus.
I'm like
the smoothest villain I have ever seen.
I almost wanted Diana to be like, "All right, let him go," because he's going to get a night with an Amazonian real quick. Wait.
But so then the end of the movie is they've obviously recovered the codes and they've recovered the money and it's back at Steve's office, and they basically talk for a little bit and then Steve is like, "Oh, and Diana, I forgot to ask, how did your bout with the dentist go?"
And she's like, "Painful, but not that
painful." And that's the end of the movie basically, and
that's where it ends.
I can't imagine why this didn't get picked up. I mean, it might not. Maybe it's because it was boring as hell. It wasn't really Wonder Woman. It basically felt like a backdoor pilot to try to get another spy show going off in the 1970s.
Because let's be really honest, this literally felt like Charlie's Angels, The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Especially because, like you said, spy movies were adopted. It was like how in the 80s and 90s detective show private eye spinoffs or such a thing, like The Man Called Hawk,
Miami Vice.
Diagnosis Murder,
Magnum
PI. Remington Steele. This is so generic. And only that,
Wonder Woman feels so thrown into it, maybe just to get fans of Wonder Woman to tune in.
Yeah.
I feel bad because until the next year when the Linda Carter show debuted, this was all people had.
Yeah,
this is fucking horrible.
This was ass.
Say what you will about the 1960s Batman show.
Yeah, at least
that for the most part looks like a fucking Batman show.
At least Adam West is dressed as Batman. At least Burt Ward looks like Robin.
At least most of the villains look like they should.
Until they started doing the weird villains like Egghead and
Bookworm
and King Tut.
Who I know Doug loves, but let's be honest, Bookworm is pretty fucking generic.
Yeah. And this actually reminded me a lot of the 70s Captain America pilots with Reb Brown. Especially the part where she literally chases him down with a motorcycle. Actually, in a lot of ways, this reminds me of the second one, because, replace him with Christopher Lee, and he basically... Which is actually hilarious, because Christopher Lee and I are supposed to be Puerto Rican.
Oh my god, it's horrible. Whitewashing.
Oh,
literal whitewashing.
I mean, granted, it's basically Captain America fighting Dracula anyways, but...
we're gonna have to review that too at some point.
I know we're gonna have to.
I can get it on Blu-ray.
If I were to give this a rating, I
give it 2 out of 5 burrows.
I would have to arguably say it's a 3 out of 10 for me. It's just so boring, and when it's not boring, it's just being batshit crazy. And not in a good way.
I give it 2 out of 5 because I did like things here and there. I like the costume a little bit, if only because it's so bad. It's good. Well, and I obviously enjoyed Ricardo Montalban's performance because it's just Ricardo Montalban being himself. I think the biggest thing was the memes we made out of it for our group chat.
Yeah,
that was probably
that was the only good thing to come out of this.
Was the $1 million thing, I went out of my way to screen cap just because I was like, no, I need that.
I love that.
I need that line
because Diana in that has the dumbest looking face.
I think that was the other thing. I remember I kept pausing it. I kept pausing it in really bad spots. It just cost me $1 million in one bro. What are you gonna do about it?
I'm also really...
For those who don't know, that's a reference to Glengarry Glen Ross, the scene where Al Pacino is flipping out. And he's like, "You just cost me $6,000 and one Cadillac."
Because he's obsessed with that movie.
Not even that movie, just that line. It's literally a movie of just Al Pacino being a fucking meme.
But what's actually kind of funny is we looked up who played Diana in this, and we found out she actually responded to Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman costume. And we get into these, she's like, mine was certainly less risque and much more...
I'm like, yeah, because it didn't look anything comic accurate to begin with.
I was about to say, what, did you get upset that Linda Carter, you could see her cleavage?
or the thigh. Like I don't know,
and
man.
that's my I cannot.
The costume is so 1970s.
I really cannot stand when people like complain about how much skin Wonder Woman's costume shows. I'm like, it doesn't even show it that much.
No.
At least she wears armor. At least it's not just a random boob window like Power Girl. At least it's not Captain Miss Marvel's costumes before she got the bikini one.
Yeah, it's...
At least she protects her tummy, unlike Huntress.
No, that's not true. That's that's inconsistent.
Yeah, fair. That's fair.
The crossbow killer.
But suicide... But Birds of Prey Huntress still don't protect her tummy. But...
yeah, my final thoughts are just... I don't think it's a good movie. I certainly don't think it's a good Wonder Woman movie. No. I certainly don't think it's a good superhero movie.
Like...
It's a very mediocre film that I think was just a spy movie masquerading as a Wonder Woman movie.
Yeah, like, it's not even a good spy movie, spy thriller either.
Yeah, it's just extremely slow, and it's extremely boring, and nothing really happens in it.
Yeah, like, you know, as someone who will defend, like, some of the worst Roger Moore movies, like Moonraker, at least they're entertainingly bad. This wasn't even really entertainingly bad. It was entertainingly bad in spots, but it's so tedious and boring to sit through. Like him and I literally had to pause almost every couple of minutes just because of just... It's either because it was...
Near the end, we just kind of gave up. We were just laughing at it.
Let's just, like... Well, it was like, we're running out of time on our lunch. Let's just finish this pile of shit.
We didn't even sit through the credits. I think I even made a joke. I'm like, what if there's a post-credit scene?
I'm like, that wasn't a thing back in 74. But... yeah, I honestly, there's better things to watch on DC Access or Universe. Like just watch the Linda Carter show if you're really wanting to get your Wonder Woman fix.
And we didn't even watch the worst Wonder Woman thing. This still pales in comparison to the 1967 test footage I wanted to show you that you refused to watch.
I argue that test footage is probably even still better than the 2012 Wonder Woman.
Oh no, it's worse. It's worse. You need to watch it. It's only like 5 minutes.
It's debatable to me just because at least she doesn't murder people and act like she's like Judge Dredd throughout it like the 2012 Wonder Woman did. Sorry, as the pilot's called Wonder Woman Pants to be Darkened. But I think that's kind of wrapping it up. Like, there's not much to say about this movie. There's better things on that DC Universe app.
If you're really bored, I guess seek it out. If you're a person like me that like likes to watch stuff for completion, give it a shot. But I mean, I really don't recommend anybody watch this fucking movie.
I'd also argue because I think it's included with the actual Wonder Woman DVD sets for the TV show. Because what else are you gonna?
I don't think it is. Let me check.
It's not?
Let me check.
Because Well, I think that the pilot is on Blu-ray and DVD, or at least DVD. I kind of assumed that they would have put the pilot on here.
It says pilot movie, but I'm pretty sure it's the Linda Carter one. I'm almost positive it is not the... Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's not this one. But I will check.
But, look, you guys saw it. Like, just hold up, at least hold up that picture. Like, that looks like Wonder Woman. Although I really like that they put a lot of the DC... art stuff for her on here. That's nice.
Yeah, no, that's the 1975 one. So that's the Linda Carter one. That's not the 74 one.
But I think you can
the
easily
74 one you can either again find on DC Universe or you can buy it on DVD.
Yeah.
Which I think you didn't even know it was on DVD. You're like, why is that on DVD?
Even then, I argue use my favorite secret ingredient, crime, because I don't even think this is worth buying. And I normally don't say that about a lot of things. But this was just not worth it. Honestly, I think we can probably wrap it up here because I don't have much more to say about this movie. It's a pile of shit.
Yeah, I don't either. Again, I said most of my thoughts. As a completionist, I've watched it. Am I going to watch it again? Absolutely not.
Yeah. Sorry, this one was kind of short, but there's not much to it.
There's not much to say about it. It's a literal piece of shit.
When we do some of the other bad movies we have slated for this show. Trust me, we'll have a lot more to say.
Like this movie.
No, put that shit down. You put that shit down right now. Put that back where it came from, or so help me. But anyway, guys, I think that's going to wrap it up for this episode. As always, I'm ZonGetsu134.
And I'm Average Joe Squad. And as always, we ask you, remember the hyphen and take care.